Hello followers and welcome back to my Minecraft tutorial. This is episode 61 and in today's episode we're going to be building a tree farm and an apple orchard. So this is basically going to be the same thing. We're going to build a tree farm because it occurs to me that I don't have a reliable source of wood blocks. I have tons of planks if you check out the world download, which will be available below. You will see that I have tons of planks from the abandoned mine shaft, but I don't have many of the actual blocks that make up the trees. And it can be kind of nice to actually have those in building and stuff. And don't you fall on my crops, sheep. I wish they would fix that animal escaping bug. They said they fixed it in 1.6.2, but it hasn't been fixed, which was hardly surprising for many people it seems, but we could live with that. So in terms of resources for this project, you are going to need some dirt just to fill up any holes that may be lying around because we want a nice flat area. Some building blocks. These can be anything. I chose spruce wood planks because it matches my farm design, but this could really be anything. Cobble. Just make sure that it's not any of the log block types because leaves stick to those logs. Or if you were intent on only using this for, say, oak wood, then you could use the spruce logs or the birch logs or something like that. But personally, you may want to reuse it for something, so I would avoid using logs at all costs. Any saplings that you have, some fences would be good to secure the area a little bit. Coal and sticks would be handy for torches. Lighting in this build is optional. It increases the rate at which trees will grow at night time, but if you're not going to be awake at night, then you probably won't need the lights. So in my case here, I am going to need a bit of dirt because I'm going to need to fill some of these holes in that have kind of been lying around here kind of untouched for quite a little while. So always make sure though, if you are filling anything in, make sure it's lit up, because if it's not, monsters will start spawning in there and that is undesirable. So this is going to be a very, very basic tree farm. There are way more advanced designs and probably way more efficient designs than this one. But this is just designed to help you get started with a basic tree farm so that you can find a renewable source of wood without having to tear down the environment. Or if you're particularly in somewhere like a mountain biome or a desert, you're going to need wood and you won't have a lot of it. So it could be a good idea to set up one of these tree farms wherever you are. So we need to get some more dirt, which is why I brought plenty. What I didn't realise is from last episode when I needed some dirt was I have a double chest of it, basically full. Actually no, a single chest of it full. And I didn't realise at the time, but that was really a lot of dirt, and I ended up digging a bunch of it for no real apparent reason. So look at it either way you want. You could consider it a waste. You could consider it worthwhile. It's generally just the opinion of the person, I guess. So we need to fill in this hole, and then I think we'll be done. In terms of this, all we need to do is just fill in this little bit right here. We may have to do more land clearing because you do want a nice flat area for your trees to sit on so that they're all nice and even, and that's because we're going to be building a sort of trellis, and the reason we're going to be building that is so that you don't have to use blocks to harvest the tippity top pieces of wood, because as you know, particularly with oak trees, not so much with birch, definitely with pine as well, and with the jungle trees, you can actually end up having to climb using blocks and stack up like this to finish cutting down the tree. We don't want that. We want to make this tree farm nice and easy, very easy to use. So we are going to build a trellis up above, and that's why the pine, the spruce, I always call it pine, but the official name is spruce. That is why we're going to be using this. So actually, one thing you could do with getting is some ladders, but we can just use dirt for the time being, and it won't be too much of a problem, but I would recommend ladders. So we want to go a bit away from here, because we're going to need a fair amount of room, and this right here is probably going to have to get tore down as well, but it's not the end of the world. I do have a really good shovel. So let's come away, because we want this to be a fairly large tree farm, let's come away maybe 5 blocks from here, and we're going to start where this thing ends and just put a block down, and then you want to stack up to 9. Now handily I have 9 dirt here, So I can just stack up until the dirt has run out. That's kind of fortunate, that was not planned, but there we go. Minecraft seems to be wanting to be nice to me today, which is always good news. So stack up to 9, like so. That's now 9 high, and you can take your way down. And now move 3 away. Actually, you don't need that there. You can put it there if you want, but it's not required. It kind of lowers the efficiency a little bit, because we want a 3x3 tile right here, where we're actually going to grow our tree. So you need to make one 9 high, and I've kind of come down here now for no real reason, but let's just climb back up here, and now you can extend it to be whatever length you want. So I'm going to make this, I don't know, let's just go for a little ways at least. So I want this to be fairly high capacity. Oops. Don't need any extras. Why don't we just make it come to about 5 away from that fence? That seems like a good amount. It probably means I'm going to have to move the gate situation though here, because we're not going to have as easy access now to where we want to be. So that is actually 5 right here, so let's just go, I think, as far as that, and that will do the trick nicely. Now I'm going to have to be a bit brave and jump down onto this, pick up any straggling bits. So now we should, fingers crossed, be 5 away. So here is the row of which it lines up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want the other part of the beam to be right there. So yeah, there we go. We've got a nice frame here now, which is going to make up the start of our tree farm. And again, similarly to what you did before, you do want to extend it lengthways as well. And now this may need some adjusting later, because we need to make them multiples of 3. And I'll talk about why we do that in a moment, but that's what you need to go for. And I'm going to jump in bed fairly soon. So we're going to extend it out, oh, I don't know, maybe, let's just mark off where we want it to come out to. Maybe we want to go a bit beyond the edge of the farm, I think. Maybe somewhere in the region of maybe somewhere here. I think that's a fairly large farm, because it's not going to accommodate that many saplings. Unfortunately, with this design, the number of saplings that you can get your hands on inside this tree farm is fairly limited. You can pack them in more, but that means then you're going to have to start cutting down leaves. And we don't really want that, so we are just going to keep it simple. So now we have that post all the way over here, and then you could stack up 9 from there as well. I'm going to actually stack up here first, so that I can continue with my pine, and I don't think I'm going to have enough, unfortunately. This is why you would be better off bringing ladders to do this job, because you can't always estimate how many planks you're going to need for this particular build, because it very much depends on size. Obviously, if you want to make it bigger, then you're going to need more of your building block of choice. But if you want a smaller tree farm, then you just need less. So let me grab all of my pine so that we're going to have enough room. And now what we need to do is pillar back up here again, jump up here, and go as far as this, wherever this guy is, a little bit further. And now we've got the basis of a frame going on here. Now before we complete it all and wrap it up, I think, yeah, we're going to need to go one more. We now want to divide this into multiples of 3, and this is where the trellis part comes in. So you're going to want to go 3 from here and then bring it out. And you can build it as far as you want on your tree farm. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to lose that one for the time being. Probably go and collect it momentarily. But as I extend it further and further and further, we're going to get this. And you need to do the same for every multiple of 3 until you reach the end of your tree farm. Now, if it happens that you get a multiple of 2 on the end, this is why we didn't finish it earlier. You can just cut that down and be fairly okay on that. And then this way, again, you need to go a multiple of 3. So you get this 3 by 3 here, and you want to keep doing that until you get, as I say, to the end of your tree farm again. And I may need to go and get some more pine before finishing this off, because, oh well, I have still got quite a bit actually. We're not going to fill in the walls of this build, it doesn't need it, so we're good there. This one is going to be one more than I expected, which is fine. It's not the end of the world. That's pretty good actually. It saves me cutting a bunch of things down. So we've got this basic structure set up now. Now again, I'm going to have to come across here and start the next branch right here. And we'll do one more together, then I'll probably cut the camera and I will bring you back in when we are pretty much done. Then I'm going to talk to you guys about how to plant the saplings in this tree farm. And what we are also going to use this tree farm for is, obviously, wood can be smelted into charcoal. We learned that way back a long time ago now. I think maybe episode 1 or episode 2, somewhere there. And we, in the next episode, are going to make a fully automatic smelter, which is going to be really handy for whenever I want coal. All I've got to do is chop down some trees and stick it in this machine, and we are going to have infinite charcoal, which is super useful. So here we go, we've got the next row going, and at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to, did I leave a block somewhere? Yeah, I thought I did. I'm going to chop this block down, like so, and we're going to come down here. We're going to finish up the other pillar on the other side. Nice to have a super handy shovel. And let's pick up our planks that we left behind, and we need to put this pillar down. And these pillars, by the way, are entirely optional. You could do this without them and just have a floating trellis, but I think that looks a bit weird, so we're going to actually go with that particular design. So this is what you need to do. You need to do this all the way across until you get to the very end, and then once you've done that, make sure, as I say, all land is at the same level. In my case, I'm going to have to do a little bit of digging just to kind of reshape the land here to accommodate for this change. But other than that, you should be good to go. So I'm going to be right back once I have wrapped up the trellis and I've just moved some of the land around a bit. So I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so I've done that. I've finished the trellis, as you can see. I've also put cobble around the edge as a border, and I've put some fences up to keep the mobs out, although the cows seem to like it in here because I haven't got a gate yet. What I'm really happy about, though, talking of gates, is I can still keep that one because we haven't actually interrupted this sort of setup here. This was actually perfectly 3 wide, so I didn't have to alter it in any way. Also, as you can see, I've just basically finished it off. Make sure all of the slots are 3 by 3. The fence and cobble is entirely optional. It's up to you. It can function without it. It can function without the pillars as well. But it's a very minimalistic build, and also it's indefinitely expandable. So you do have that option as well. So now we need to talk about planting trees and actually using the tree farm that we have constructed here. Now if you go with a pillar model like I have, you're going to have some problems with actually planting the trees in the corners because the pillar itself interferes with the tree growing, so we can't place any in the corners. You can kind of ignore these. Now in this case it's okay because my entrance is going to be here anyway, and for the other corners I guess you could put chests there or a crafting area or whatever it is that you want to put in there. I may end up putting my charcoal thing in one of these corners because it is quite a minimalistic build, so we'll have to see on that one. But for all the other slots, these are available. Even if you have the fence here, they will still be available. And what you need to do is you need to find the center of the slot and then plant your sapling. And what you could do here to make it easier for you upon replanting is actually make either wood or cobble walkways, which I may do later off camera, but I don't have tons of equipment on me right now to go ahead and do that. But you could do that as well if you wanted to. That would be a very nice addition to this particular design. And what's going to happen here is it doesn't need bone meal or anything like that. It will just grow over time. And the next thing you need to do is you need to go 3 away from this particular tree and then plant another one. And continue doing so like this until you get to here, and as you know, that's the last one, so we cannot plant any more. And same goes for this way. This is the advantage of having the 3x3 here. And you can also now go 3 in this direction too. So you don't actually need that many saplings to fill this farm, but we're going to have a fairly high wood output. And what will happen here is the trees will grow and the wood will stop it from growing. But we don't fill these in because trees grow faster in sunlight, so they still have the sunlight here. So that's pretty much everything. And again there, we just need to miss out the corner one. And let's put another row of trees down. And I will probably add the pathway fairly soon, actually, because it always helps just to have one kind of handy for replant. And we're going to just keep on planting. It wouldn't surprise me if one grows before we're done with this, because trees do grow pretty quick in this game. You know, typically looking at about a day for most trees, though. As more grow, the remaining ones will take longer, but in my experience with tree farms, maybe around 5 Minecraft days, all the trees in here will have grown, because there is enough room between each sapling so that it doesn't take a ridiculous amount of time in order to get one of these things complete, in terms of actual wood in here. So we just need to keep on doing this. There we go. We're nearly done now. So we put this here, and then here, and there, and then there, and last row, last but not least. Oops, that's out of position. You want to make sure that they're in position so that they don't interfere with each other too much. And now, all you have to do is play the waiting game. And when the trees have grown, you can come in here and harvest them. Fairly simple stuff. Let's get that fence gate cranked out. And I'm also going to show you another use, what you can do with vines in this tree farm momentarily. So what was it that I wanted? The fence gate, right? I do have plenty of pine left, so I can actually spruce. I'm just going to keep saying pine because it's what I know it as. I think pine and spruce is the same thing. We're now going to go and put the fence gate on just to keep the mobs out. And now we're going to put some vines down. I actually went back to the chest over at the cottage, and we've got some vines here. Now, what you can do is you can climb up to the top of the trellis and hang vines down, and you can use shears to harvest them. And because you don't want to touch those source vines at the top, you can actually be pretty efficient about this as well, and it doubles up as a vine farm, which is really handy. Plus, vines don't interfere with tree growth. Though you may lose a couple when the trees grow, but you won't lose these top source ones right here. So you can just plant them on this particular section right here. And vines actually do have the unique ability that they do spread, and they will spread down there, and then when they grow long enough, I can just grab some shears and harvest vines if I ever decide I want vines for anything. There we go, first tree grew, as you can see, right there. Perfect. So we're going to talk about lighting while these trees actually grow. And as you can see, it's grown short enough so that we can actually cut that down. And you will see that over time, that's not just a coincidence. So now let's talk about lighting. And I'm going to get a bunch of torches going here for this particular demonstration. I've got a ton of coal back at the base. So, there we go. It's exploded. Just in the time that we've crafted the torches, it's really getting going now, as you can see. So now, to help lighting, what you can do is in the center of each of the where the trees are planted, you can put a torch, and this will provide the trees with enough light at night time that they will continue to grow. Because they need light level 13. So if you go here, 14, 13. So we're doing pretty good here. Another one grew over there. It will not take long for this tree farm to get fully grown, trust me. So you can do this if you want to. This is entirely optional. If you don't have many plans of being awake at night time, then of course you don't have to do this. Or you could use something else like pumpkins in the floor, which is probably what I'm going to use, or glowstone, redstone lamps. It's really up to you what you want to use. But for me, I'm just going to use torches right now to demonstrate. in this case, like so, and we will actually wait for it to get night, and I'll show you the tree farm actually at night. And this will look really pretty once all the vines have grown. There's another one. It will actually really look pretty nice. Guess you didn't really need one there, but oh well. Obviously, because at the moment it's kind of this giant ugly thing. It won't look too bad once all the trees have merged together, but as you can see, all these trees are actually reachable without me having to climb up using blocks. The trellis up there stops that from happening, which is what we want. And you will probably find that you will not get the average looking trees. There will be a few odd ones grow as they grow around each other and as they have their height limited. So just be aware of that, but there will be nothing in this tree farm that actually grows to the point where you can't reach to cut it down. So, as you can see, the vines are also now growing, which is great news. Zombie down there, apparently. And you can easily use this to get leaves if you want to. This will work with birch, it will work with pine. I believe it will work with the small jungle trees, but it definitely... Oh. Well, this is unexpected. This has never happened before. That is really odd. That has never happened before. I am very surprised at that. This tree has managed to grow all the way around. I did a lot of testing on this and never got one of these. So this is kind of a very infrequent occurrence. I am very surprised at that. Did it take up more than one? No? I'm very surprised, actually. I apologise for this, guys. I wasn't aware that this could happen because I'd done a thorough amount of testing on it. And as you can see, every other tree that's grown in here has actually stayed within the correct height limit. But apparently, according to this, we've defied odds here. But this is one of the biggest trees I've ever seen, but it doesn't have any leaves on it. So, the thing is, if you use pine or birch, this would not happen because they can't grow very big. Jungle trees are the same, really. They can't grow extremely big either. This is kind of the unfortunate thing with oak. Now, you could, I guess, put a wooden plank in each of the center of these, and I think that would totally stop it. That would actually solve the problem completely. Or you could put extra bars in, but I think for right now, I'm going to leave that. Unfortunately, it seems that occasionally, very rarely it seems, a tree will manage to squeeze through. But that is a very tall tree. As I say, I've never seen that happen before, so I was very confident that this design would work. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But it's getting to be night time now, so I can show you what the tree farm looks like at night. Excuse that dog. That is not my dog. If you can hear that in the background, that is a dog from across the road that just does not want to be quiet, unfortunately. So this is what it looks like at night. As you can see, nice and bright. Trees will still grow here. Whether you're mining or doing whatever, there's another one grown. You see, as you can see, all the other trees that have grown in this particular farm haven't actually grown large enough that you wouldn't be able to cut them down without climbing. That, I think, is a very freak occurrence. Honestly, I did test this for a long time, and I'd never seen that happen, so do be aware that it can happen, but the actual chance of it happening is very low, which is good news. I mean, it certainly cuts down on the problems that you would have, for example, creating trees out here. But I'm a bit upset about that, actually, because it's kind of ruined my plans with this tree farm. It's made me look like a bit of an idiot, to be honest. I don't know what I'm talking about. What advantage, though, to using, say, the jungle wood here, if you were using another type of tree, you could actually plant cocoa beans on it and make a cocoa bean farm. That is also possible. You could actually then attach pistons on the top and bottom, shake them up and down to get the cocoa beans off, which is a good way of automatically farming cocoa beans. But that is also a possibility. Aside from that, that's pretty much everything I wanted to do as regards the tree farm. Yeah, I'm a bit... that's It's not what I really wanted to happen. Unfortunately, this one eluded me. But anyway, we won't worry about that too much. I mean, it's what, one? I highly doubt that another one would actually grow like this, and it could be 3 or 4 harvests before we actually see a tree of this magnitude grow again. I didn't even know trees could grow that high, to be honest. The handy thing is, though, the trellis is up there, so if you attached a ladder to the side of the trellis, you could actually cut this down without too much of an issue. Or you could even use vines, actually, because, hey, you've got vines, you've got a vine farm, why not use some vines? You could just do this. And you can actually fairly easily climb just to the top of the trellis, and you can stand on this, and you can cut the tree down like so without too much trouble. So if the worst is to happen with one of these giant trees ending up growing, you can actually sort of aid yourself a little bit with actually using ladders or vines, and you have a structure to climb up to cut it down, kind of pre-built. So that's always good news. So yeah, now this particular tree farm is designed to produce, maybe you're looking at maybe 2 stacks per full harvest, not per half harvest or whatever like I'm doing now. You would wait until all the trees in this farm are fully grown, and then you would cut it down over time. So this is going to be reliable. And why did I say at the start that it was going to be an apple orchard? Because oak trees drop apples. And despite them growing in this fashion, they still do drop apples. As you can see right there. That's perfect timing, actually. So we can cut these leaves out. And these would actually, if you cut the wood down, decay over time, but it's always a good idea not to leave them up here, because it's not intended. Very, very odd stuff indeed. I am shocked, to say the very least, because it wasn't like I just tested it on the fly. I actually did spend some time looking into this. If you want to know more about tree farming, by the way, I would highly recommend checking out the Minecraft wiki. That has a good detailed article on how to tree farm, particularly underground. This one is above ground. You can get a lot more underground. Good example of that is my tree farm on MrMFretwell Plays Minecraft. I have a pretty good underground tree farm there that gives me about maybe 6 stacks of wood per harvest. So that is definitely probably the next logical step forward if you realise that you needed more demand than this. But this is just a basic tree farm for players to get started with. This is not anything super advanced. There is way more efficient designs and way more designs that don't do this, but that's just something that I'm going to have to live with, I think. It's a bit of an extreme oddity. Because out of how many trees have grown in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least 10 in here, and none of them have done that, so I don't know what really caused that. Have I cut that down? I hope I have. I don't want to leave it floating up there. This is the vine spreading, by the way. I mean, you could coat the entire thing in vines, but what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to have my vine access ladder over by where the vine farm is, just to kind of keep it a bit more neater and organised than what we had prior to this. And I'm just going to clear the remainder of these out, and as you can see, these will decay. I did leave a block of wood up here, and we've got 32 just out of that one tree alone, but that wasn't actually entirely intended, so we're not going to count that really towards our full target. So that is something that I'm going to do off camera. I'm actually going to implement the pathway system that we've got, that idea, into this particular tree farm. I'm going to move the vine corridor, and I'm going to harvest this tree farm a little bit. I want to move on to the next tutorial fairly soon, so I probably won't be spending too long waiting around for this thing to harvest. So that'll be something that I will potentially, the vines will grow here anyway over time. That is something that I will just have to kind of wait for and hang around for as we're doing other projects. But yeah, this is the tree farm, guys. You will get apples and saplings and wood, obviously, from this. It's recommended that you would leave a chest nearby with some axes in, maybe some stone axes or iron axes, so that you never run out of axes. Obviously, the charcoal machine we might be able to cram in here somewhere. If not, we can put it somewhere else. I'm thinking maybe putting it in this corner or putting it in that corner. Although it would make sense to have it near the entrance, wouldn't it? So we may go ahead and put it near the entrance. We have this little bit of room right here. Aside from that, really, it's just a case of harvesting it. I would also leave a bed nearby and a place to store your stuff. I already have chests here to do so, so I'm not worried about that. And for right now, I need to repair my shovel, because it's nearly burnt out completely. So that is going to be pretty much it, guys. Very, very simple tree farm for those who want to get into automating this particular resource to a degree. Well, I guess it's not automating it, it's making it easier to get access to it, because I would have to go climbing up in those mountains to get that, or run all the way over there. It's just nice to have wood on demand, I find. Sometimes you always need wood in this game. It's needed for a lot of different things, and particularly if you're playing a Feed the Beast mod pack, or any sort of mod pack such as forestry or something like that's in it. You know, you want something like this because you use wood all the time. I mean, even more so than in vanilla, so this is even more useful for those who play something like Feed the Beast or maybe Tech It. I haven't done too much into Tech It, so I don't know about what the exact mods in that pack are, but you know, there's plenty of uses for this, even outside of normal vanilla. But I would say now about 50% of the trees have grown in the time that we've been talking alone, so that's not bad at all. I'm very impressed with that. So that's going to be just about it, guys. I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. As I say, if you want to download the world, that will be available in the description, which you can go ahead and grab if you want to play around with the tree farm a bit more and get to grips with it. And you can harvest it to your own leisure or play around with anything else I have on this world. But for right now, that's going to be it from me, guys. So until next time, I hope that you've had fun, and I hope you found this tutorial useful and informative. And until next time, guys, see you later and have a good day. Hey, I'm back. So just a couple of things I didn't cover in the main episode that I want to get across at the end here. Actually, I would definitely put in these lights, because as I was clearing out my farm to harvest it, I ended up with a bit of an issue. The issue was it was getting very dark in the tree farm, so monsters could spawn. So I would put down these either jack-o'-lanterns or glowstone or redstone lamps, or if at a total loss you can't put anything else down, put torches down. That would be pretty good, and it seems from further testing that having these blocks in the middle here will stop trees from growing above the top of the trellis. That seems to have solved the problem. Aside from that fact, here's a result of basically one full harvest. I think there was one or two trees that didn't fully grow, but here we have about 4 stacks of wood. Some of these saplings I already had. I was probably looking at about 2 stacks of saplings and 16 apples per harvest, and in the time that it's probably took me since the tree farm was built, while I've been logged into the game, probably about an hour in this world, and I've got that, so that's not bad at all. Very high capacity tree farm, and it's not too big, and it doesn't require too many resources either. So that's my recommendations as regards that. I added the wooden floor in just so I can see where to plant things a little bit easier. You always need to plant with 3 in between each. I put a walkway around the edge so it does look a little bit odd, but you always need to plant when it's too wide on the outer edge in my particular design. You can customize this however you really want. It's not up to me for you to it's not up to me to decide that for you. It's up to you to decide how you want it to look. So great high capacity tree farm, I think. So yeah, that seems to have solved the problems that we were experiencing earlier in the episode. So I hope that you found this little extra nugget of information useful in constructing your own tree farm, or just because you wanted to know. So that's it now, guys. Really, I'm out of here. Replanted all the trees and we'll be ready to grow again. So next episode we will be taking a look at another redstone device called the dropper. I think I already mentioned that earlier, but if I did not, there you go. In fact, actually I do have some wood in here as well, which will probably tip that over 4 stacks. So until next time, guys, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you next time. So until then, see you later and have a good day.